If you're watching this right now, don't scroll, because what happened inside this upscale restaurant only proves one thing. Some people respect money more than they respect humanity. And if you've ever been judged by how you look instead of who you are, this story is going to hit you hard. Before we begin, make sure you like this video so more people can hear this unbelievable, true-to-life lesson. Now, let's begin. The evening rush at La Valeria, the most expensive restaurant in the city, was always loud, bright, and full of perfume. Waiters moved like dancers. Guests whispered about business deals, promotions, and vacations. But tonight, something unusual happened. The tall glass doors swung open, and in walked a man no one expected to see there. His clothes were worn, his beard messy, his shoes covered in city dust. A woman at a nearby table whispered loudly, "Is he lost?" Her husband snickered, "We're looking for leftovers." The maitre d', a sharp-nosed man named Calvin, straightened his vest and walked toward him like he was approaching a pest. "Sir," Calvin said with a cold smile, "we don't allow soliciting inside this establishment." The man blinked, confused. "I'm not." Calvin waved a hand dismissively. "Whatever it is you're selling, the guests aren't interested." Guests chuckled. A group of teenagers pulled out their phones. A businessman rolled his eyes. The room buzzed with quiet cruelty. Only one person didn't laugh. A young waitress named Maya, 22 years old, stepped forward. She had kind eyes but a tired face, the look of someone who worked double shifts but still smiled at strangers. "Sir, do you need help?" she asked gently. The man exhaled softly. "I have a reservation." Calvin almost choked. "A reservation?" he repeated, bursting into laughter. "Here?" "Sir, I think you're mistaken." But Maya didn't move. "Name, please." The man hesitated, then whispered it. When Maya heard it, she froze. Her hand trembled. She rushed to the host stand, checking the VIP list. Then her face turned pale. The name was there. Number 1. Reserved for a confidential guest. A note underneath. Top priority. No dilas. No dus respect. Maya looked up at the man. The same man everyone mocked. "Sir, this way, please," she said, her voice suddenly formal. Calvin hissed, "What are you doing? Don't embarrass us." But Maya ignored him and led the man to the sparkling VIP section, the one reserved for celebrities, ambassadors, and millionaires. The entire restaurant fell silent. A homeless-looking man in the VIP section? The whispers grew. Is he a billionaire in disguise? No way. Maybe he saved up his entire life for one meal. But Maya noticed something else. The man wasn't nervous. He wasn't out of place. He sat with the calmness of someone who had seen the world and lost more than these people could imagine. When she poured him water, he said quietly, "Thank you for treating me like a human being." Maya swallowed the lump in her throat. "You're welcome, sir." Then, the doors opened again. This time, security guards walked in. Behind them, the mayor himself. People gasped. Phones dropped. Forks froze midair. The mayor scanned the room, not at the rich guests, not at the laughing businessmen, but at the scruffy man sitting peacefully in the VIP section. He walked straight up to him and bowed. "Professor Hale," the mayor said with deep respect, "it's an honor to finally meet you." The restaurant erupted in shock. The homeless-looking man was Professor Jonathan Hale, the same humanitarian scientist who developed emergency shelters for war zones, the same philanthropist who lived simply and donated almost everything he earned, the same man whose name had been whispered around the world, but whose face few had actually seen. Maya's knees nearly buckled. But Calvin, the maitre d' who had mocked him, turned white as flour. Professor Hale slowly stood, his eyes sweeping across the room. Not angry, not bitter, but disappointed. The mayor continued, "We have the private room prepared for your meeting." But Professor Hale raised a hand. "No," he said softly. "This spot is fine. I want the city's leaders to see the truth." He looked directly at Calvin. "Tonight, I walked in wearing simple clothes. I want to see how people would treat someone they thought was beneath them." Calvin's lips trembled. Professor Hale pointed to Maya. Only one person passed the test. Maya's eyes filled with tears. Calvin whispered, "Yes, sir, I didn't know." That Professor Hale said gently, is the problem. You don't have to know someone's identity to treat them with respect. The mayor shook his head, embarrassed. Guests avoided eye contact. Some suddenly felt ashamed of their laughter. Professor Hale then smiled at Maya. You have a good heart, and we need more people like you. Maya looked stunned. Me, sir? After tonight, I want you to join my new community outreach team. Your kindness could change lives. Tears streamed down her cheeks. But the room wasn't done gasping. Professor Hale turned back to Calvin. As for you, Calvin gulped. The professor paused, then said, I don't punish people for one mistake, but I do expect them to grow. Calvin nearly collapsed with relief. But you will spend 1 month volunteering at our shelter, Hale finished, where you will serve the people you mocked tonight. The entire restaurant exhaled in stunned silence. And as the mayor sat down beside him, Professor Hale said, Now let's eat. The restaurant fell silent after Richard revealed the truth, but the quiet didn't last long. A wave of whispers spread across the dining room like a shockwave. He's the owner, that homeless guy? I knew something felt off. Only one table remained frozen. The group of influencers who had mocked him the loudest. Their ringleader, Tara, the blonde one with 2 million followers, sat trembling, her fork dangling between her fingers like it weighed 100 pounds. Her friends didn't dare look up, but Richard wasn't finished. He turned toward Tara's table and walked slowly, calmly, with the presence of someone who had learned long ago that real power didn't need to shout. Miss, he said softly, would you stand, please? Tara rose hesitantly. Her confidence evaporated. Her makeup, once flawless, now looked heavy and smeared under the weight of embarrassment. You said, Richard continued, that people like me don't belong in nice places like this. His voice remained gentle, but the words hit like a hammer. Thought I swallow it. I didn't know who you were. I thought. He stopped her with a raised hand. That's the problem. You judged who I was based on what you thought you saw. The entire restaurant felt his words. I built this place, he said, sweeping his hand around. Not just with money. Every tile, every chair, every recipe. It came from the years I spent living on the streets. Years hungry. Years cold. Years invisible. He looked directly into her eyes. People mocked me then, too. Tara's eyes glistened. I'm sorry. I forgive you, he said sincerely. But apologies don't undo harm. They only open the door to better choices. Her throat bobbed as she nodded. But there's something I want you to understand, he added gently. You have influence. Real influence. The kind that shapes how people treat each other. And you used it tonight to encourage cruelty. Her lip trembled. So what happens now? Are you going to ban me? He shook his head. No, I'm going to give you a responsibility. The room's tension tightened. You're going to spend the next 2 months volunteering at the homeless shelter 2 blocks away. Quietly. No cameras. No posts. Just work. Listen. Learn. Her jaw fell open. 2 months. And after you finish, he continued, you're going to donate 10% of your monthly sponsorship income to that shelter for the next year. Tara glinkid rapidly, stuned. That's a lot. Yes, he said softly. And it's still less than the amount of dignity you tried to take from another human being. She looked down and whispered, I'll do it. Richard smiled for the first time, not triumphant, just warm. Good. Then maybe this night won't be wasted. As he turned to walk away, Tara suddenly asked, Can I ask you something? He paused. Why didn't you throw us out, she said. If we embarrassed you, if we insulted you, why not kick us out? Richard exhaled thoughtfully. Because someone once showed me grace when I didn't deserve it, he answered. A stranger. A man I mocked. He handed me food anyway. I never forgot it. The room felt that. Everyone deserves a chance to grow, he finished. When he returned to the VIP table, Mia, the young waitress who had defended him earlier, stood there nervously twisting her apron. Hoped I didn't speak out of line, she murmured. You spoke out of courage, Richard replied. And that's a quality money can't buy. He gestured for her to sit, right beside him, at the VIP table. She gasped. Sir, I can't sit. I'm working. You're off for the rest of the night, he said with a warm smile. Paid, and I'd like you to join me. Mia sat down slowly, eyes wide, still in disbelief. The chef brought out the meal he had originally prepared for the mayor, a beautiful spread of roasted duck, lobster, and truffle potatoes. Everyone around stared with admiration now, not judgment. "You defended a man you thought had nothing," Richard said. "That tells me everything about your heart." She blushed. "I just hate seeing people treated like they don't matter." "You're exactly the kind of person I want to lead my new community outreach program," he said casually, as if offering a shift change rather than a life-changing opportunity. Mia's jaw dropped. I can't. I'm just a waitress." "You're not just anything," he said firmly. "And I wasn't just a homeless man either." The realization softened her shoulders. Tears pricked her eyes. "I'd be honored," she whispered. "Good," he said, raising his glass. "Because we begin tomorrow." Across the restaurant, Tara watched the moment quietly. Her pride had melted away. Something in her expression had changed. Something humbler. Something real. And that was the point. Not humiliation. Transformation. Later that night, Richard stepped outside into the cool air. The moon glowed faintly above the city's skyline as Mia walked beside him, still overwhelmed. "Sir, can I ask? Why were you dressed like that tonight?" He smiled faintly. "Every month I go out in my old clothes. The ones I wore when I lived under the bridge near Crescent Street. I walk around the city for a few hours. Remind me where I came from. Keeps my heart honest." Mia nodded slowly. "That's beautiful," she said. "It's necessary," he replied. A taxi pulled up, and Richard held the door for her. "Get some rest. Big day tomorrow." As she left, Tara exited the restaurant with her friends. She hesitated, then walked over. "Sir," she said softly, "the shelter, when should I start?" "Tomorrow morning," he said. "Ask for Paul. He'll put you to work." She nodded with new determination. "And Tara," he added before she walked away, "kindness looks better on you than cruelty ever did." She smiled, a real smile this time, and walked into the night. The next morning, the shelter buzzed with activity. Volunteers handed out breakfast, sorted donations, and greeted people by name. Mia arrived first. Tara arrived second. Their eyes met, awkwardly at first. But then something unexpected happened. Tara stepped forward. "Hi," she said quietly. "I'm ready to work." Mia smiled back. "Good. Let's do some good today." Side by side, they began sorting clothes, serving meals, and listening to the stories of people who had none of the privileges they once took for granted. By noon, Tara was kneeling on the floor beside an elderly man, helping him tie his shoes. She wasn't performing. She wasn't posing. She was human, and something inside her shifted. For the first time in a long time, she felt grounded. Final scene. Later that month, the restaurant held its biggest annual charity gala. Tara was invited as a guest. Not because of her fame, but because Richard had watched her work, sweat, and grow. As the night drew to a close, Richard stood on the stage and spoke. "We often judge people by their appearance," he said. "But dignity doesn't come from wealth, clothes, or status. It comes from character." He looked at Mia, at Tara, at the crowd. "And character," he continued, "is revealed in how we treat those who can give us nothing in return." A standing ovation filled the room. Richard smiled. Some stories don't end with punishment. Some end with transformation. OUTRO for your YouTube video. Before you go, let me ask you this. If someone walked into your life today looking like they had nothing, would you treat them with the same respect you'd give someone who had everything? Think about it. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell ****. More life-changing stories are coming your way. ****.